Odette. These gates hold the soul of the demon witch Odette, who traded her soul for eternal youth, transforming into a swan. Residing in the frozen hell of Cocytus, legend has it that Odette made a pact with the stubborn demon queen Odile, allowing her to fall to her preferred circle of hell. Odette, said to have prided herself on her magic ice abilities, lends these skates the terrifying ability to summon the cold. Odette's named for the protagonist of Swan Lake. Odile is the black swan and her rival. Director Hideki Kamiya initially planned for the weapon to be named Odile because it would match the story better, but he decided to stick to a name that people were more familiar with. The Swan Lake Ballet, Op. 20, by Russian composer Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, was composed in 1875 to 1876. A couple of notes about that before I continue. Op is short for opus, Latin singular for work, labour, or work of art. An opus number is assigned to compositions by the composer as a means to identify their work, kind of like a cataloguing system. However, its use by composers throughout history has been inconsistent and therefore not a good indicator of the chronological order of works. The name Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky is anglicized as Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. His other well-known ballets are The Nutcracker and The Sleeping Beauty. Swan Lake consists of 4 acts, and it was first performed for the public on 4th of March 1877 as The Lake of the Swans, at the Bolshoi Theatre in Moscow. Origins of the story have been disputed by many critics. Swans are considered to be from Russian lyrically romantic sources, and many of the ballet movements originate from Slavonic ring dances. The Russian ballet patriarch Fyodor Lopukov has therefore called Swan Lake a national ballet of Russia, due to the swan imagery, overall plot, and the theme of faithful love, which is considered to be essentially Russian. The general plot of Swan Lake is based on the stolen veil. Oh gosh, Russian to German. The Geraubte Schleier, by German author Johann Karl August Musaus. Another source is the Russian folk tale The White Duck, which also bears some similarities to the story of the ballet. It's also possible that the character of Prince Siegfried is based on the life story of Bavarian King Ludwig II, whose life was marked by the sign of the swan. The story of Swan Lake is that of two women, Odette and Odile, who bear such strong resemblance to each other they could easily be mistaken for each other. It has long been customary that a single prima ballerina play both parts of Odette and Odile, differentiating the roles by the characterization and dance style. But as there is one brief moment in the ballet where they are seen simultaneously, this has been split to two separate dances. The story takes place in Germany. Odette is captured and turned into a white swan by evil sorcerer von Rothbart. Rothbart's motivations are never made known in the ballet, but the conditions of the spell are that Odette take the form of a swan by day and regains her human form at night. The only way for the spell to be broken is by the power of faithful, eternal love between Odette and a young man. If the man's faithfulness wavers, she will remain a swan forever. Odette has many companions who are also under the same spell. Living by a lake formed by her grieving mother's tears, they declare Odette their queen, hence her title of the Swan Queen. One day while hunting, a prince just come of age, Siegfried, sees Odette transform from her swan form to her human form. Taken by her beauty, Siegfried and Odette dance together and fall in love. Siegfried vows to love Odette for all eternity, and with that declaration of love the spell can be broken. The next evening, at a party where the prince is to pick out his future wife, Siegfried rejects all the women offered to him, remembering the promise he made to Odette. However, von Rothbart appears with his daughter, Odile, whose strong resemblance to Odette strikes the young prince. Siegfried declares his love for Odile, thus condemning Odette to remain under Rothbart's power for all eternity.
No.
Just as the betrothal announcement is to be made, a window flies open and through it can be seen a white swan, replete with crown. Odette. Horrified, the prince pushes Odile away and rushes out amid general confusion.
I guess what I'm asking is, will you marry me?
No. No!
Odette is heartbroken. The only way she can be free now is if she dies, and she would rather die than live a life as a swan, that's Siegfried. Prince Siegfried comes to explain the trickery of von Rothbart, and Odette grants him her forgiveness. However, von Rothbart appears and tells the prince that he must honour his word and marry Odile, or both he and Odette will die. Prince Siegfried refuses. A fight follows, and Odette and Siegfried die in each other's arms. Von Rothbart's evil spell is broken by the power of Odette and Siegfried's love for each other, and von Rothbart is destroyed by the swans, who are released from their enslavement. As the sun rises, Siegfried and Odette ascend into heaven together, united in love for all eternity. Karen. Cursed to dance endlessly, Karen, banished to the icy hell of Cocytus, now finds her soul sealed within Rodin's handiwork. The blades of these skates are able to release incredible cold, giving those skilled in leg techniques frightening power. However, those without the power to fight the curse will find themselves losing control of the skates and dancing endlessly till their death. Karen is a reference to the Red Shoes, an old fairy tale by Danish poet and author Hans Christian Andersen, who lived from 1805 to 1875. He was an author of many different works, but is best known for his fairy tales. Andersen's stories, although presented as children's stories, present themes that transcend both age and nationality, which is probably the reason why his stories are so embedded in the West's collective consciousness. Some of his fairy tales that you may recognise are The Emperor's New Clothes, The Little Mermaid, The Ugly Duckling, and The Princess and the Pea. Andersen's influence on children's literature can be seen in authors Lewis Carroll of Alice in Wonderland and Beatrix Potter, best known for her story The Tale of Peter Rabbit, both of which depict inanimate objects coming to life. The date of his birth, April 2nd, is celebrated as International Children's Book Day. In The Red Shoes, Karen is a spoiled and vain child who becomes obsessed with her new expensive red shoes, which she obtained through trickery, and is cursed to dance in them eternally even after death, as a warning to spoiled children everywhere. The actual story is worth a read, but is a little too long to put into a video, so you can read that along with the stories The Stolen Veil and The White Duck in the links in the video description. Finally, Cocytus, mentioned in both weapons' description, is the river of wailing in the underworld of Greek mythology. It is one of many rivers that exist in the realm of Hades, the others being Acheron, Styx, Phlegethon, and Lethe, or Lethe, not sure how you say that, with the river Styx being the most well known. These 5 rivers circle the underworld, and the names are meant to reflect feelings associated with death. Cocytus being the river of wailing, Acheron the river of pain, Styx the river of hatred, Lethe the river of oblivion and forgetfulness, and Phlegethon the river of fire. Not sure how fire relates to death. Cocytus also appears in Dante Alighieri's poem The Divine Comedy as the 9th and lowest circle of hell, or inferno. It is referred to as a frozen lake, not a river, but draws its waters from the same source as the other infernal rivers, the tears of a statue called the Old Man of Crete. Cocytus is described as the home of traitors and those who commit acts of complex fraud, as opposed to simple fraud. Depending on the form of their treachery, the victims are buried in ice to varying degrees, anywhere from neck-high to completely submerged in ice. Just a little side note, the Divine Comedy describes the travels of Dante and his guide, Roman poet Virgil, through Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Those names sound a little familiar because Bayonetta cribbed those from the Divine Comedy. In addition to that, Rodin is a reference to French sculptor Auguste Rodin, whose work derives many themes from the Divine Comedy, and one of his works, called The Gates of Hell, is based on a scene in the Inferno, the first section of the Divine Comedy. It's like multiple divine circles of references.